Haji is an internationally known singer, a songwriter, multi-instrumentalist, meditation instructor, and music teacher. For the past 7 years, Haji has toured the world, performing and holding music and meditation workshops. And during the time in India, Haji also studied the sitar with a teacher to learn about the sacred sounds of Indian classical music. So now Haji Basim travels the world sharing his own brand of soul music and sound healing. So let's give a big applause to Haji Basim.
First and foremost, I want to thank the Most High for the gifts I've been given and for the opportunity to share them with you all this evening. This will be my journey of sound and surrender, or sound and the sacred. This journey begins in 2012 when I had a continual dream of me meeting an old man on a road, him having something behind his back, and finding out it was a sitar, and then telling me to go somewhere or to go down a path or whatnot. And it was very, very interesting. So growing up, I grew up going to a church in Georgia, a small little Southern Baptist church, and every service began with a deacon standing in front of everyone and started to sing a verse from a Bible like, I know change is gonna come. And if you can imagine, take it in. If you can imagine a whole congregation full of people voicing their fears, their joys, their pains, singing all in unison, I know a change is gonna come. And that was my first experience of sacred and music. Also in Sunday school, I used to read a story about David, who was a giant killer, a king, and also a sound healer. One story talks about Saul, who was the predecessor king to David, who was tormented by evil demons. David showed up with his lute or his lyre, began playing, and casted all the things away. So sound healing is found within music. Growing up, my first experience with music was playing tuba. For some reason, I was really good at tuba, but the ladies didn't like tuba players. I don't know why or what was up with that. So I moved over to become a rapper, and I was a pastor's kid, so that really didn't work out very well for me. Then I began singing in an R&B group, and that was my first introduction to playing music. A few years later in college, I took a class on world religion, and I studied Buddhism. And Buddhists, if you asked the Buddhists what they believed, they couldn't tell you because it was experience. So it moved me to want to have the experience of spirituality, so I began to meditate. And meditation began to open my mind and my body to things I hadn't experienced before. One of those things was playing musical instruments. The guitar was the first instrument I learned how to play, and for the first time, I was able to express things inside of my heart. Usually in our culture, men are told to suppress whatever our emotional feelings are and to keep them inside, but I was given a gift with the instrument to be able to express those things that healed me and healed others. Moving forward a few years, I lived in the ashram for 2 years where I practiced meditation and tantric and worked on a farm and created music, and it was a beautiful experience of watching me plant a seed and sowing it, and then in due time, that seed came into fruition as a plant. Years later after that, I joined I was a music minister at a spiritual center that was kind of like Agape with Reverend Michael Beckwith. And I began to create songs and lead people into developing and affirming what their life was through their songs, through their music, initially becoming an ambassador of a higher vibration. After that, I got the opportunity about a year later to start traveling. This shot was taken in Australia at the Adelaide Fringe Festival. And it was the first time I got a chance to actually get outside of the States and create what my sound was going to be. And from then, I started playing all around the world, from Holland to a bunch of places. While I was touring, I developed a method called the Holistic Method, and it comprises of meditation plus music instruction. And I brought those together to create that method. I do it with ukulele and with guitar, and allowed me an opportunity to share what I experienced through my experience growing up with meditation and music. Along the lines, I began to play music, and I found myself at Agape, which was Reverend Michael Beckwith's church, and played for them. The best part about that was that after I finished playing, I was selling CDs, and a woman from Bali came up to me and said, "Hey, I think I have a bigger stage for you to play on." And her name was Megan, and she passed me a card. And I was like, okay, maybe I'll use that one day. We'll see what happens. So then in 2015, I was doing my 4th Australian tour, and tragedy, or so I thought, happened. And I broke my arm during the first leg of my tour and was unable to continue. Went through a deep, deep depression and didn't know what I wanted to do with my life because I was just feeling so lost. So I went to India. So one morning, I was in Agra, the city of the Taj Mahal, and a monkey woke me up. He was stealing like 200 of my rupees, and I went outside on the balcony to try and chase it or beat it, whatever. And when I went outside, I heard a muezzin's call, and that's a Muslim person appointed by a mosque to sing people to remember to do their prayers 5 times a day. So while at the Taj Mahal, they have 4 mosques surrounding it, and it was amazing to see how the sound and the voice was able to penetrate whatever they were doing at that moment in that time, and they were able to create a space for praise and for the sacred. My end destination was Varanasi, India, the holy city of Varanasi, India. It was a Shiva temple, and I was on search looking for a sitar and a sitar teacher. While walking one day, I happened to see a couple of kids outside meditating, and it just reaffirmed the importance, even though it's not might be in our culture, but the importance of meditating. So I found a sitar teacher, and I found a sitar, and his name was Baba Krishna. And Baba Krishna told me one day as our lessons, "Oh, Haji Bhai, music for an Indian is not merely for entertainment. Music for an Indian is the food of the soul. It allows you to express and experience things beyond this physical situation." So when I got back to the States, I had a brand new take on music and how to approach it. And I began creating sound healings and putting that into the music and allowing it to reverberate and create a safe space for people to experience this higher vibration of music and sound, which eventually led to me coming to Bali to play the Bali Spirit Festival, which I will be playing on tomorrow. We'll talk more about that in a second. But all the experiences that I had led up between the sacredness of sound and the sacredness of the spirit that dwells inside of all of us. So if I could say one thing, that we're all given tools in our life to use, and at times you might not see the correlation between the tools that we're given, but very much so I found that those tools enable us to do what our true passion and our calling is. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Haji. You have a very soothing voice, not only when you sing, but also when you tell a story. Like, I feel like I'm so calm right now.
Thank you.
Right, who has a question? Here, right. He wants him to sing again, so one more time.
The verse is, "I know I've been changed." I know I've been changed. Thank you.
Yeah, you should go with karaoke with me sometimes to Denpasar. We do that a lot every weekend.
That sounds good. Sounds like a plan.
I can sing as well, by the way, guys. Right, other question? Nope. Oh, we got.
This is going to be a paid show in a second, so, yeah. Up to you.
No one has a question? Hey, well, you were saying something that you're going to sing tomorrow? You're going to
So, I'm a multi-instrumentalist, and I play 11 instruments, which I could not bring because they would have charged me too much with checking him. So, but I brought 4 instruments. I'll be playing the ukulele, the flamenco guitar, the sitar, and the bansuri flute. And I'll be singing songs and creating a safe space of expression and sound healing tomorrow on Wednesday at the Sound Garden from 6:30 until about 7:30, I believe. So please feel free to come out. Can I sing one more thing and then get out of here? Okay. So there is a, well, let's speak for itself. This is for anybody and anyone that can receive it. Away dark clouds, You made your rounds. I feel a change in the wind. Something's breaking through now. I have to say to you goodbye. For my happiness is back again. Thank you.